In this video, I will show you how you can make your own sword and use it in Roblox Studio. This sword will work on both players and NPCs. First, you need to create your custom sword model. To start, load up Blender and create a new file. If you do not have Blender, you can download it by searching it online or using the link below. After that, create your custom model. For this tutorial, I will be recreating one of Zoro's swords from One Piece, using a reference to guide my modeling. If you need help with modeling in Blender, refer to other videos. Once finished with creating the model, there are a couple of changes needed before exporting. First, name the parts of the model. Make sure that the part where you want the player to hold his sword is titled Handle. Next, make sure that all the faces are facing outwards, otherwise the sword will look weird in Roblox Studio. Follow the video to access the screen for checking face orientation. Make sure that all faces are blue. If there are any that are red, flip those faces by clicking Alt and On, then selecting on the Flip Face option. It is now time to export the sword model. Select all parts of the sword model, then navigate to the Export button. When exporting the model, make sure that the Limit to Selected Objects checkbox is checked. Now it's time to import the model into Roblox Studio. Click on the Import 3D button, then on the sword model. Before finalizing the import, make sure that the size is reasonable in the Geometry tab by adjusting the units. Fix the size of the model with an avatar as a reference. Now it is time to create the sword as a tool, but before doing that, we need to make sure that the sword is orientated correctly for the player. To do this, install a plugin called Tool Grip from the Toolbox plugin store. When installed, select on the plugin. Before using the plugin, the tool for the sword needs to be made. Do this as the video does. With the tool for the sword made, the handle for the sword can now be orientated. For this sword, the orientation happens to be correct. In cases where it is not, rotate and move the handle accordingly. Let's see if the player can equip and unequip the sword. I will check this by moving the tool inside the starter pack. Oh no, the player glitches when equipping the sword. This is because there are no welds on the sword, so they need to be added. Within each part except for the handle, add a weld constraint. Make part 0 the handle part and part 1 the part which is holding the weld constraint. Ensure that there are no welds in the handle part as well. The sword now works. Now it is time to add an animation for the sword when the player clicks. Navigate to the Animation Editor tab and select on an animation rig. Next, name your animation and start creating the sword attack animation. When finished with your animation, it is time to publish it to Roblox. Navigate to the Publish to Roblox button, fill in the details of the animation, then publish the animation to Roblox. Make sure to copy the animation ID before closing the Save tab. Now it is time to make the sword work. Within the Sword tool, create a new script. Copy and paste the animation ID, then copy and paste the code from the description below. Move the animation ID into the number 0 and fix up the script, as shown in the video. After doing this, the sword should work. The sword is a bit glitchy, but this is because the parts of the sword are collidable. Setting can collide to false will fix this. Other than that, The sword works. I hope this video helps. Please comment for suggestions and feedback.